Hey, welcome to Vaughn on Movies. I'm your host, Vaughn Fry, and I just got back from a midnight showing of Friday the 13th. Now, I don't really like reboots, and that's kind of a problem here because this movie is actually a lot better than the original series, and I'm going to tell you why here. You can see my full written review at ncbeat.com, but for right now, let me just give you the lowdown. If you're not aware, this is about a guy named Jason Voorhees, and he goes around killing people. Reboots are a little bit of a weird thing. They want you to go in because you're familiar with some of the material, but they also want you to forget all about it so that you can learn a new story. There's actually some twists in this film, and in a way it takes the ending of the first movie, kind of mixes a few of them together, and it makes it pretty enjoyable. The story's not so bad. The acting, 75% of the time, and more on this later, is actually pretty good, and that made it much more enjoyable for me. Probably the real star of the show is the cinematography. I kind of think that the guys working on this in the crew could have put their talents to better use. Back to the story a little bit. There is this series on the CW called Supernatural, and it looks like there must have been some kind of duel between the leads on the show to see who can make the better movie, better slasher film, and Jared won, okay? So let's just get that straight. I like the characters in this movie. Some of them are cliche, and in some ways that's a detractor, but everybody had their little thing to do. One girl's holding a camcorder like she wants to be a director, but she never goes around saying, hey, I'm gonna go to film school. That was actually refreshing there, not having to state your purpose. I also like the guy who looks like Michael Cera and Tom Cruise combined, and how he's not quite as manly as he thinks he is. I really like the way people died in this movie. I thought that Jason really brushed up on some of his camping skills. You know, maybe he got his merit badge in some of these events. Something that I didn't like was how Jason kind of veered off some of his rules. A local townswoman mentions that people don't bother him and he doesn't bother them, and so forth. I don't know if some of the characters needed to get killed because they seem to be living in the area, so how come they violated his rules or whatever, or weren't familiar with this stuff? Because if that had happened 20 years earlier like they'd said and so forth, some of the stuff was a little over the top. Some of the kills were definitely cheesy. There was quite a bit of nudity in the film, and it really reflected poorly on the women willing to degrade themselves for it, but yeah, that's something that's kind of been a mainstay of this series, and if you're going to go see the movie, you're probably aware of that. Can't really say that this is a great film. I'm giving it 2.5 stars. Very high rating for a slasher genre film. Really the only good movies in that genre, and this is just kind of stretch it, would be Psycho, Alien, and possibly Halloween. This is maybe in the top 5. And I don't really much care for this genre particularly, but this is one of the best. If you are interested in these slasher kind of films and you know what you're getting into, I would say that this is going to be a movie that you got to see. If you're on the fence about it, I'm a little on the fence. I'm giving it 2.5, and that's a slight recommend.